but isn't this what the San Francisco 49ers have been trying to get away from?
What do you mean?
We've had these conversations about Jimmy Garoppolo. We've had these conversations about quarterbacks in this system, right? You get opportunities. Here's the thing, Dan. You said Deebo Samuel ain't playing.
Right.
You know what? The timing of that route might not be the same.
Right.
With a different guy running. I'm not here to excoriate Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
Don't misconstrue what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is in the NFL, when you know your personnel is limited, when you know you have things that are going to be different about how you go about your job, he hasn't responded well.
Oh, I totally
just
disagree.
Yet.
Oh, I totally disagree. Here's the pushback I would have with you. The Jimmy Garoppolo experience was the head-scratching, boneheaded, why did you make that throw interception?
Right.
That's not what we saw. And we can't not credit him for last week's game against the Browns, getting them in field goal range and the kick not going in, but then also kill him for that 2-minute drill that doesn't happen last night.
So here's my question. So we supposed to go back in time and forgive you for what we just saw? I don't operate like that. I look at the week. This week in this game, Brock Purdy turned the ball over twice. Any other quarterback, you turn the football over twice. That's not a good game for you. Like I understand he's a 7th-round pick and he missed the irrelevant and he had this phenomenal run at the beginning of his career. He didn't lose any games. So we're a little bit kid glove with Brock Purdy. He threw 2 interceptions.
But Marcus, why the turnovers happen, how they happen,
it's very important. But Dan, if I'm telling you that we're about to play a football game or a basketball game or a baseball game, you don't have your guys. Maybe my approach needs to be a little bit different in this particular situation than the guys that I usually have. I'm not saying Brock Purdy is not going to live with being a rhythm and timing passer. We know that works in the NFL. But I'm not going to talk about Tua not getting past his first read because we know he's a rhythm and a timing and accuracy. Yeah. He made 2 bad mistakes yesterday. Absolutely. We can say that and say that those potentially cost them the opportunity to win the football game.
I know you got to go. The last thing I would say is this. There's a difference between playing a bad game and having a bad play.
100%.
You see, ladies and gentlemen, this is a perfect example of the media proving one Micah Parsons' point. We saw Dan Orlovsky making excuses for the pathetic quarterback play we've been seeing from some of the quarterbacks over the last couple of weeks since the Cowboys have gone on bye week. Not just Brock Purdy.
So to me, I think it's unfair about this. Josh Allen gets blamed for everything.
Yeah.
He's the only reason.
This was not a Josh Allen problem.
Well, 2 things of their offense bother me. One, the lack of a plan versus pressure or the blitz. That's been a 5-year issue. Sometimes it's good. And sometimes it's terrible. And when you play against here's my thing with Buffalo's offense. You're going to play against Kansas City. You're going to play against Baltimore. You're going to play against Cincinnati. Those defenses are notorious for being really good pressure defenses, really strategic pressure defenses.
I want to make sure I'm understanding what you're saying, though, and everyone is. Are you saying that's on the quarterback?
It's everybody. It's everybody. There are plays there where you say, Josh, we got to get rid of the football. Yeah. I don't know what he's getting taught, though, but it's the plan, it's the coaching, it's the execution, it's everyone.
And you see here, Dan Orlovsky is bringing up the fact that the Bills didn't have a plan for the blitz in the red zone in particular, where really he should just be discussing the fact that a quarterback that's been in the league as long as Josh Allen has should understand what a hot read is and how to play against a blitz. If the blitz is coming from the left side, more than likely you're going to have somebody open in the flat or the slant on that same side. You always throw the ball behind the blitz. And we've seen several players be wide open in these situations, and Josh Allen is holding on to the ball, not trusting the throw, or trying to play hero ball and extend the play for absolutely no reason. But no, they're not calling that part of it out. They want to talk about it's a planning issue and talk about how many injuries the Buffalo Bills have. And oh, don't forget, the guy that most people were trying to thrust into the MVP conversation, Brock Purdy, has also been quite protected from the media. Now, I understand people are going to say he's just a second-year player. Yeah, well, anytime a second-year player is in MVP conversations, I think at that point, his bar for what should be considered the status quo is a little bit higher than that of a true second-year player. You see, the problem here is the media has created this monster on its own. They've gotten to the point now where they almost have to pick a hill and die on it because they prop up these quarterbacks so much and they focus so much on trying to tell us who's actually a good quarterback and who's not, and trying to position certain guys to be the face of the league, that when the games actually have to be played on the field, fans that are actually watching the games and seeing how things are playing out and not just looking at box scores can see that honestly, legitimately, there is not much separation between what you would consider the franchise quarterbacks in the league. For the most part, all of them are interchangeable, and there's only one or two quarterbacks that are truly transcendent and that stand out from the crowd as quarterbacks that are head and shoulders better than the other quarterbacks in the league. And that is Patrick Mahomes being the best quarterback in the league, and I would say Lamar Jackson being the extreme dangerous weapon that he is, and the fact that he's coming into his own as a passer as the years go by. Those are the only two quarterbacks that legitimately I can look at and be like, yo, you can never feel safe against these guys. Josh Allen invokes no fear in me. Justin Herbert invokes no fear in me. These dudes have the same exact issue. They struggle when playing from behind or playing when all factors are not perfect. They also have bad decision making, and sometimes they can get caught up playing hero ball, and Justin Herbert just flat out misses throws a lot of the times. Someone like Trevor Lawrence, he was a #1 overall pick, and while his team is playing decent this year, for one, they haven't beaten anybody that's like a top tier team, and number two, Trevor Lawrence hasn't been super impressive in their victories. Their running game and their defenses was carrying that team right now, not the Prince. And then don't even get me started on Brock Purdy. We saw what he just did against the Minnesota Vikings, in which he threw two very important picks, regardless of what the talking heads want to make you believe. Both of those picks were game-breaking and back-breaking picks because they came with less than 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter and a chance for the 49ers to go down and score to tie the game up. So you see, media, you're proving Micah Parsons' point to the T. You're not keeping the same energy. Had Dak Prescott made any of these mistakes that we've seen these quarterbacks make over the past 2 weeks, he would be getting absolutely destroyed in the media. They will be talking about, is it time for Cooper Rush? Should they give Trey Lance a chance? Is he worth the money he was paid? Not once have I heard anybody bring up how much money Justin Herbert is making. Not once have I heard anybody bring up how much money Josh Allen is making. Josh Allen is currently living off of a singular playoff run that resulted in, an AFC Championship loss. Josh Allen hasn't done anything to get the kind of grace that he's gotten from the national media, but he's managed to skate by because he looks like exactly what the NFL would want to be one of the faces of their league. Let's keep it real about the situation. There's no mistake that we see guys like Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, and Trevor Lawrence being positioned as the faces of the league alongside someone like Patrick Mahomes, and it's because they look the part. So the NFL and the media alike is trying everything in their power to push to everyone that these guys are the elite of their league, when quite frankly, the results do not show that. And this is exactly what Micah Parsons is speaking to. And this is exactly why fans like myself have made it their mission to keep the media honest. No, I'm not trying to get anybody fired. I'm not going for anyone's job. What I am trying to be is the media's accountability. The media likes to hold players accountable, and more specifically, they like to hold the Dallas Cowboys to this astronomical standard, even though that thinking is backwards, because you would think if a team hasn't had success over the last 3 decades, their standard would be way down here, right? So that doesn't even hold water. But if you're going to hold the Cowboys to that particular standard, I'm going to hold the media to the standards of what a media analyst, a reporter, whatever it is you want to call yourself, a pundit, a talking head, should be, especially when they have a national platform and their voice and their words carry weight. And there's a lot of people that take what they say to the bank and they feel like it's something that's reliable, dependable information. I'm going to be the one to hold you guys accountable for your performance and nitpicked about how you go about doing your job. As of right now, the way you guys have gone about approaching analysis and breaking down these games to the fans looks kind of funny in the light. You're not keeping the same energy at all, not with just Dak Prescott, but some of the other quarterbacks in the league as well, as it pertains to some of your favorites like the Brock Purdys, the Justin Herberts, and the Josh Allens of the world. You'll hear excuse after excuse when the fact of the matter is Josh Allen has been largely disappointing throughout his career, especially for someone that's supposed to be a perennial MVP candidate. Justin Herbert was supposed to be some type of QB Jesus, and right now he looks like a false prophet. Brock Purdy was supposed to be the second coming of Tom Brady, and now we're giving him an excuse of being a young player, where we really should be talking about the fact that the 2 interceptions he threw were not under a ton of pressure. They just were extremely badly thrown balls, and maybe he doesn't have the degree of talent and skill that people out there may have thought he had. You see, the media does a good job of showing everyone week in and week out that they have no clue what they're talking about, as they put teams like the Detroit Lions on this pedestal, only for them to be brought down to earth shortly afterwards, and then they explain it away like nothing ever happened, where we really, as a viewing audience, should be holding each analysis and each breakdown of these teams against these analysts, because the more evidence we get that they don't know what the heck they're talking about, the more we should push back against the criticism that they give for our players and challenge the things that they say. Nowadays, everyone has a platform. So now we can make their jobs just as hard as they make our players' jobs with the Dallas Cowboys. Either way, y'all know how we always end these videos. Keep that same energy. Micah Parsons, I'm right there with you. And how about them Cowboys? Take it away, Pastor.
Calling me, texting me, paging me, asking me, am I still them boys? Y'all usually check on me. Listen. I'm still them boys. Hey! Woo! Hey! I'm still them boys.